Okay, so I'm doing a recap on today's trades. I did something a bit different today. I recorded them so that I could go through them live. Just following on from what I did yesterday, I don't love recording because I feel it puts me under a little bit of pressure. So normally I won't do this, but I thought I would today. Just showing real quick the P&L on this account that I've got is $615. So that's the P&L. Um, and yeah, just gonna go through it. So I'm obviously gonna fast forward to the bits where there are trades. First trade here, thought process is we've sold through this level of support during the pre-market. I'll just pause it here. So we've sold through this level of support in pre-market, and with very, very aggressive selling, which for me is confirmation that sellers have control. We're out of a conflict zone. So as a result, I take a short. I actually was making some food this time because I knew there was news at 9:45. Didn't think we'd get a setup, but then we had this one just in time, so came back, put in the wrong order originally, and then put it in here. So it was a little bit flustered, so not the best trade conditions in that respect. Yeah, pretty clear flag. We get filled here. I move my stop, and we can see here it immediately goes in our favor a few points. This is pretty typical of what I do. I will move my target to below the most recent support or resistance. If I'm going long on resistance, we'll see that later on. But I don't intend for it to actually get down to this target. This is very much a case of if we get a quick wash through low of day, then we get that. But as you can see, I'm already preparing to move it up quite a bit higher, more to around about a 1-to-1 return. Continue selling through, and in this instance, we didn't quite get filled. I moved my stop to above the candle that I got in on, so just cutting the risk down very slightly. Once we've gone 7 points in my favor, I tend to cut the risk down if we get popped back up. I try not to move my stops all that early because I've noticed that when I do that, I end up getting stopped out before the move. But in this instance, I think it's absolutely fine. We came quite a bit into my target, so that was that. Got out just for this big push higher. So that was the first trade on the day. Let me just bring up the next recording, which I believe is this one. So this recording's a little bit longer. Here we go. So we end up bouncing off of this area. So this was my conflict area right in here at the lows. Bounced off it a few times, and then we pushed up. We also broke out of a trend line. Now this area here, this 14,379 kind of area, this was a low during pre-market that wasn't really a conflict zone, but I was wary of it. Now I draw in this trend line, and this is the first mistake I make of it then. I think it's important to share mistakes as well. For me, I don't think that this has quite pulled back enough. It's not a horrible trade, but I look at this and I go, have we pulled back far enough to my moving average? Probably not. So I think I get in this one a little bit prematurely. Not a horrible trade, like I said. We get filled. And immediately I realize as well that my risk reward doesn't really make sense. I'm in at 396. My stop is likely going to be around about 12, 13 points, and my target is at 10 points, above the high of this move. So my risk reward here is way off. There's lots of things wrong with this. I don't think I've pulled back enough. So a bit of a mistake. I kind of recognize this and move my stop to above where it should be, and try to make out that it's fine, I guess, by moving my target. So this is a mistake that I make sometimes. Just jump forward a little bit. We can see we end up pulling back, and I get stops out there. I then make a second mistake. I kind of get away with this one, and I don't think it's horrible. This is a bit of a revenge trade. I realize we have now bounced off, and I should have really drawn my trend line to be more like this. If I just bring this in here, I should have really drawn my trend line. Oh, okay. Don't want to do that, obviously. I should have drawn my trend line more from this high to this high here. So I get a little bit fortunate with this one because I do end up getting filled a bit earlier than I should have done. The risk reward now makes a lot of sense. We've got 10 points to easily before the high of the move, and I've got less than around about 10 point stop. So I've easily got a good enough risk reward. I put my target above just in case we get that quick burst through. And yeah, we'll just let this one play out. Like I said, I would have actually got in if I draw my trend line correctly. I'd probably got in around 95 anyway. So at this point, the trade would have been valid. So like I said, got away with this one. If I'd have got in at 95, my stop would have probably been at 85 anyway. So we begin pushing, we come into that 14,400 zone, and I've already now moved my stop, so I'm at a point where I've got 60% of my initial risk. And I was in the middle of writing a quick note down, and that move, I kind of got a little bit like, damn, I've missed the opportunity, but it didn't matter. Got back in the order and took that 10 points. Essentially, like that move there is the one that if it comes up and pushes and then fails, then I just get out. Like I shouldn't be looking for a bigger move at that point. We then get another trade. So for me, this is not yet a conflict zone because we've only tagged it once, so we're still trending higher. I was worried that we were kind of holding above this previous area, but I think that this one's absolutely fine. Put my order in here, stop order at 14,395. Got a really nice pullback. The risk reward's looking on point. So we're going to get filled here. And again, like we're looking at around about a 1-to-1 risk reward. So I'm very happy with that. There is always a potential that if this breaks out and quickly gives us a move, we could potentially get 15, maybe even close to 20 points on this. So that is always a potential. So we get filled here. I move my stop. And this here is the only problem with moving targets above. We got a pretty nice quick move in my favor here, so feeling good about the trades. We get up around about 5-6 points, and I'm already considering moving my stop up. And we can see I push my target just a little bit higher, just because I think, well, if we break this, it's gonna be really good. We push up to about 7 points, and we can see I was up around 9 points there. Didn't take it, hesitated. And as a result, I kind of panicked a little bit. I moved my stop back and thought, damn, I've missed out on the opportunity, and ended up moving over and just, I believe this is the one that I just close out and only end up taking 3 points, which was a mistake. At this point here, I should have moved my stop to below my entry candle, said, okay, I've got a couple of points risk on the trade. Let's see what happens. And had I done that, we can see if we jump forward, we would end up making making that 10 points. So a bit of a mistake there. I'm not sure if I have any more trades on this one here. No, we don't. Until maybe here. So okay, so now we do get our next trade. This is a confirmation trade for me, which is the first test. So we can see if we come back a little bit. We've got this area that is now a conflict zone. This whole 14,410 area, definitely a conflict zone. It was tested a few times. And again, and now we've broken out of that. We've ran into the high of day, which is the only negative thing about this trade. I will say that I don't love that we're coming into the next conflict zone, but we pull back, and as long as we hold above the 50 EMA and this level, then I'm fine to take an early trade. Whenever I take a conflict or confirmation trade, I take 2 positions. I target one as I would do normally, and I let the other one ride. So we're just going to see how this one plays out. You can see here I've got my markers marking out 1 to 3. And just jump forward a little bit more. Let's drop back. So stop order in, and it's pretty easy now. I just move my targets. So I think actually I could have gone for a little bit more than what I did here with this first target, but it's fine. Immediately again jumps in my favor, which I always love. I love it when I get a trade that's going 4 or 5 points in my favor. And yeah, we'll just let this one play out. Immediately move my stop up a little bit more as well once I've had that move. There's no real point. I put the stop to where it was at around about 10 points, which I think is fine. But I realized once I was in the trade that I could have actually probably gone for only a 9-point stop. So move it to there pretty quickly. We're looking pretty strong, and my weakness, I would say, is that I am watching the points here, and I am getting a little bit jumpy, being like, do I want to, just take this off for 9 points? I realize, oh, I've maybe missed an opportunity to lock in 9 points here. So I learned from my mistake. I put my stop at a point where I was like, okay, I'm only risking a small amount. Now we're just going to leave it and try to continue to let it play out. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out, and I move my stop. I go to move my stop a tiny little bit more, then decide no, I'm going to leave it, which I think is the right thing to do. Like I said, I'm only risking around about 5 points. And now again, I'm just watching to see if we do get back up into target zone, whether I should take it off or not. Just let this play through for a second. see here again, we're coming back into that 8-9 points. I don't want to miss out on that. So I just, I got a little bit unlucky maybe with the fill there, but as soon as we were up that amount and it hadn't ripped straight through, I took it out, locked in just under 10 points. Maybe, yeah, could have got an extra few points, is what it is. This one ends up reversing. We don't get any more on the next trades, on the second piece. And we get one final trade, which was on this one. So this is another confirmation trade. So now we've got kind of like the opposite of what just happened. So if we just pause it here, we can see this time we've now confirmed the rejection of this area. We've put in a double top at the high of day. We've come down and we've come out of the conflict zone. We're coming back into that 50 EMA. So for me, this is a confirmation trade. Again, I take 2 positions. I'm looking to get 1 out on that first move down and then 1 more for around about a 1 to 3. So you'll see again, I've got my mark here that gives me a 1 to 3. I was only risking around about 9 points on this if I get in, which makes my second target a little bit easier. Forward a little bit more. Okay. And I've put my stop market essentially just below those 2 previous candles. We get filled here. I move my stop to that 14,407 level. Move my targets, and yeah, I'll just let this one play through. It works out pretty nicely. So this is probably actually the cleanest trade that I've ever taken. We can see it initially chops around, that's fine, and you're going to see that when it begins to sell off, it very, very quickly heads down to my first target, and I don't even have to consider moving much. I move my stop to the high of the candle I entered in once we're up around 7 points, and it immediately went down, took me out for 10 points profit. I moved my stop to break even. So now I'm in a situation where I've locked in profit on the trade, and I'm trying really hard on these final pieces when I'm just looking for 1 to 3 to just let it run. I could have a trailing stop on these. I don't, when I've tested, I don't know whether it's best to just try to take these or not. We'll see. But in the end, this one, I was able just to let it go. It came down, and yeah, it took me out nicely. And I did actually bottom tick this little move, which was very fortunate. It's a sim account on a prop firm, so maybe I wouldn't get filled with real money, but doesn't really matter. So that was a really clean trade. And then I will share with you the final trade I took, which was a mistake trade. So we've obviously had that really nice trade. I was looking at taking another trade here, another confirmation trade, but I don't like taking a confirmation trade when it's the second trade, so I didn't take that. And then where I made a mistake was I began looking for that next easy money trade, as I call them. And the issue was that although, yes, we are in easy money trade territory, I would say that this is not flagging. We haven't got a direction here. We can see on all the others, if I just zoom back out to here, we can see that all the others, like clear direction, flag, short, clear direction, flag, long. Even here, clear direction, flag, long, clear direction, flag, short. I would say that right here where I take this trade, the big mistake that I make is that I don't wait for that clear direction. We're very choppy, and I kind of force a trade in here. I get in, and I pretty quickly actually realized that it was wrong. Is what it is. I probably should have stopped out for a small loss, but is what it is. So overall in the day, like I said, plus $615. I would say that I did make some mistakes today. If I just close this out real quick, we can see in terms of the potential, this trader, the first trader as a key was absolutely fine. The second trade I got in a bit early, so we hadn't pulled back enough. So this was a trade that I probably could have avoided. This next trade was I got in a bit early, but in the end it would have been the same trades. This trade here I stopped out of for no real reason, so missed out on some profit there. So those two errors combined, probably around about 17 points missed out on. This trade was absolutely fine. This trade was perfect, and then this trade here was another mistake trade. So the way I kind of look at it is, even though I didn't trade perfectly today, I still made $600, which is great. But there was probably in the ballpark of 25 points worth of mistakes made today. which is fairly significant. You do that every single day, you give up 75 points a week. So lots of room for improvement, but I hope that gives you a pretty clear idea as to what I look for in terms of avoiding conflict zones and trading in the easy money zones.